So it's been a few weeks to forget for Dodgy Dave Polder, aka Zack Polanski, now that the party has come under more scrutiny because it's grown bigger, quite frankly, and he's done a good job in growing the party, gaining it more notoriety. Now he's been coming under more scrutiny for things he's put in his CV, in interviews, how he's dealt with those and answered questions, and the lies that have slowly but surely getting drip-fed into the news and dug up as people look closer and closer into this man's past. And there is a big news story that has come out today that I heard rumblings of last week, and now the actual receipts are starting to come out, and this could be the one, if you don't mind the pun, that could actually sink him. So what is this news? Well, it seems as though Zack Polanski has been avoiding paying his council tax. He's been living on a longboat with his partner and basically hasn't been paying the correct tax for living on that boat. He's actually come out and admitted this, and so is the Green Party now, and he's taken steps to rectify this. Now, this on its own is obviously a huge issue, especially for someone who's talking about taxing the rich and then he's avoiding paying tax himself. It's not a good look when he's constantly trying to portray himself as an average person and we're against the nasty, scary billionaires. But I think on its own, this probably wouldn't be enough to bring him down. He seems to have a pretty loyal and rabid fan base within the Green Party, and he has had some success in growing them as a party. But I think the results in the local elections kind of show that there is a bit of a ceiling to what Zack Polanski can deliver for the Green Party. I do really think, although they had quite a few gains, I think their local election results were ultimately pretty disappointing. And I say this because if you've been looking at the polls over the last few months, you would see that the Greens have been mainly floating around second to Reform, and even in some polls they were polling as first, but this did not translate to multiple gains in local councils. They gained a few, but they didn't really take a wide spread. Look at what Reform did. Look at the amount of councils the Lib Dems managed to take on. I think they were probably expecting some of those to go to the Greens, but the Greens, maybe it's the message that people like, but maybe not the person who's delivering it. And that's going to be an issue if they've got any designs on winning a general election. Now, as I mentioned, in isolation, he could probably get away with this one. He's paid the tax now. But when you add it on top of everything that's been going on over the last few weeks, first of all, he got called out for the fact that he said he worked for the Red Cross as a spokesperson, but the Red Cross came out and said that's not true. He said that he was a member of the hypnotic order or something, which wasn't true. He wasn't qualified as a hypnotist, even though he was charging people full whack and portraying himself as he was. But there's been a lot of talk of anti-Semitism. They've had to suspend multiple candidates and multiple members of the Green Party. So it's just not a good look for him or the party. And he looks like he's kind of not in control of what's going on in his party. Also, I was reading today, he basically said about the breast enlargement hypnosis that he was trying to do. He did it once, he did it as an experiment. On the Sun newspaper article that actually broke this story was misrepresenting him. And then someone has dug up an article from a few years after that, before he became sort of well known. And he was saying that Sun article actually helped him really improve his business, and he got a lot of new business through the door, and it wasn't misrepresenting him. There was also a story that broke yesterday. I believe it was in the Telegraph off the top of my head, and it was the fact that on his CV again, he lied saying he worked for the Ministry of Justice, and he hadn't. So when you see just how many lies this man has put into his CV and portrayed over his career, it is quite clear that he just cannot be trusted. Ultimately, if you ask my opinion, the man just wants to be famous. He tried to be an actor, he failed at that. He tried to be air quotes famous hypnotist, he failed at that evidently. He tried out on, it was either X Factor or Britain's Got Talent as part of a choir. Obviously that didn't work for him. And I think he's seen his way into politics as a way to gain notoriety and fame, which is what he's got. But unfortunately, with the notoriety and fame, people start digging. especially when you're coming out with quite extreme views and exclusively targeting the richest people in society. You better make sure your house is in order, because there will be people who want to dig up dirt on you. And unfortunately for Zack Polanski, there is a lot of dirt to be dug up and a lot of skeletons in his closet. Now, will this bring him down? Maybe not. Not just this, but if anything more comes out, it just adds on. And I think different factions within the Green Party, because they seem like a very fractured party, I think they'll start seeing the writing on the wall that he is dragging them down and dragging their name through the mud. Their ministers will get sick of defending him and fighting off questions about him and his integrity. And to be honest, I think this is the beginning of the end of Polanski. He may last a few weeks, it may be months, but there is no way this man is leading them into the general election. Let me know what you think and subscribe.